Scooters. Everybody's talking about them. It's as though they're an absolute buzzword. But there's so many makes in the market, you can just confuse your head with them more than you can shake a stick at. But that doesn't stop my old mate Wayne absolutely loving them to bits. Look at them, there's even more down this row. Loads of them, all sorts of different styles, as I've said, all sorts of different names. But to me, they're more like a domestic appliance, you know, scooters, not being disrespectful, but they're just useful like a microwave is useful. And they're not motorbikes, are they? Or at least they're not, until this came along, Yamaha's T-Max. Now granted, this doesn't look like a bike, and in fact, sitting on this massive seat, it doesn't even feel like a bike. I mean, for one thing, there's no foot controls, of course, because this is very scooter-like in this way. Either put your feet there or up there, but all the controls are on the handlebars. So that's standard scooter layout. Front brake there, rear brake there, both hydraulically operated, of course. But if you look at these bars, these are bigger than a typical scooter. They're more motorbike-like. See, with that massive cover in the middle, more like a pan-European. Big upright bars there. Down there you've got a nice dash layout there. It looks very sort of GTI-ish from a modern hot hatch. Speedo in the middle, temperature gauge and fuel gauge. Got a clock up there. You've got a V-belt warning if the V-belt gets a bit slack. And you've also got a trip counter and oil change light. All mod cons on that. Something else you've got here, if I just heave this up on its centre stand. It's got a centre stand and a prop stand. There's the centre stand. To release this rear seat, I mean, just look at the size of the thing, absolutely enormous. And I should mention this little bump there, that is in fact adjustable in 3 positions, so you can move it a bit forward if you're short of leg. It's right back at the moment. But down here, the ignition switch is the thing that actually releases the seat. So you just turn that, you might hear the click, there it goes. Lift that seat up. Very hot hatch use again. It's got a little hydraulic strut there, or perhaps it's a gas operated one. I've got my tank bag in there off my bike. Look at that, it's pretty commodious in there. Handbook lives underneath there, but it's quite big. Get a helmet in there, and as I say, I've got my tank bag in there. And you might be wondering what on earth this is. Well, I had to look in the handbook for this, because in fact it's for your helmet. So you just put that down there, put it through your helmet loop, pass it over itself, hook it there and close the seat down again, so that's your helmet nice and secure. Battery, it says there, that's where the battery lives in there. While I'm at it, I'll just put the seat back down. Got this massive handrail there, so if you've got a pillion passenger on the back, no problem with them holding on. You could also bungee down some luggage on the back there. But altogether, a pretty hefty thing. Now, a feet forward style takes some getting used to, but it's certainly comfortable, and the weather protection is really effective. Weight-wise, it's certainly in the bike class at 197 kilos, well over any 600cc sports bike, for instance. But it's got the power to cope, and overtaking at 70 plus is an everyday experience. I said this was more like a motorbike than a scooter. Just look at these front forks for a start off. If you can see under there, they've got really hefty stanchions and proper yoke assembly up there, just like a motorbike. But the real difference is against ordinary scooters. Look at this big tubular steel frame. Luckily it stopped raining, or rather it started raining, so we came in here into the workshop up on a bench, and you can actually see what makes the thing tick. So a big tubular frame there. Down there, 499cc engine, twin cylinder, double overhead cam. You can see the cam chain cover there. Just a typical sort of motorbike engine there. In fact, this one's even got a balancer shaft on, or rather a balancer piston that goes backwards, just to confuse you, but it doesn't do any work. It's purely there to balance up the other 2 cylinders. Coming back here, now this is the big difference from a normal scooter. That transmission assembly might look similar. You know, at a glance it does, but there is the engine right up front, mid-frame, just like a normal motorbike, giving a much better weight distribution. This bit you see back here is literally just the final transmission. All the variable belt drive, the automatic bit, is up there. In there is the chain drive. It's in fact in 2 different parts, but that doesn't really matter to you. That's the chain drive, and so you get less unsprung weight, better handling, better suspension. Now, I have to admit, a fully automatic 500 is a bit of a novelty, to say the least, but on the road it's an absolute revelation. You think scooter, it thinks motorbike, and it wins. Wind open the throttle and it just takes off, leaving you to concentrate on the braking and bends. It's very, very impressive.